Hello and welcome Navneet and Vincent to this talk on tech and supply chain trends.
Hi Sam.
Welcome.
Sam, thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. And so Vincent, you have recently spoken about the logistics industry acquiring a cloud moment. Can you tell us what this means for the ecosystem?
Yeah, if you look at the global supply chain today, it is actually not the global supply chain. It is a collection of supply chains that each of them being one instance developed by one customer based on the view that he has for his own needs. This is good in a way because it means that every customer or every company has been able to structure their supply chain the way that they see fit, but it has a lot of impediments in the sense that the service providers that they depend on are really hamstrung by having to cope with a lot of different standards, a lot of different models, a lot of different ways of looking at things, even though the need of the customer by and large aggregate into some similar things. The cloud moment is really turning the paradigm and enabling improvement and leveraging capabilities of technology and scale by having actually the logistics provider take the initiatives to develop something that is better, that is scalable, and that does meet the customer needs that I expressed today in these different instances. And that's what I refer to as a cloud moment. It's this change of paradigm where suddenly we can leverage scale at a completely different level than what we've been able to do so far.
Wow, that sounds like quite a task ahead of us, which actually kind of plays into my question for Navneet now. So if we also look outside of our industry, what are the big tech trends on the horizon?
Yeah, there are quite a few emerging, and every research company out there has their own report on this topic, but a few stand out for me, which I think we can also relate to some of which we can relate to what's happening at Maersk. Clearly green tech is a big one, and there's a lot of work happening in there towards sustainability, towards climate enablement and all of that, and it's a complex topic. Because it requires finding solutions that need to scale and that haven't scaled yet. So whether it's battery solutions or fuels, alternate fuels that create green solutions, it's a huge challenge for the world, and one that is only going to explode in demand over the coming decade or so. So that's really one big area of research and focus in the tech space.
And that's also an area that we are watching closely with
our
carbon neutral vessels. That's an area we definitely have
huge interest to us, and we're playing a role there as well. I think bio in general, bio revolution that's happening with AI, automation, and what it means to, for example, gene therapies, what it means to hyper-personalized medical care. And we're just coming out, or we're still in the middle of a COVID, depending on how you look at it and where you sit in the world. It's taught us a few things. It's in the fact that companies around the world could respond so quickly to the COVID detection and using technology and decoding it and finding the right vaccines. That's a huge proof point of the work happening in this space. But I imagine this to only get bigger and bigger. Chemicals and next generation, implications of that is a huge area as well. So think of chemical or compound like graphene. It's very thin, much stronger than anything else we use today. Not produced at scale, but that's the future. If we get to stuff like that, it has huge implications. And I'll add one more. This list can go on and on.
Wow,
but one that's
super interesting there.
One that's close to our hearts, my heart for sure, is the next generation of automation or process automation possible using AI. So there's a view, and I believe in that anything that the human mind can process in less than a second can be automated. And that tells us the amount of opportunity, or the size of opportunity in front of us in regards to automating steps and freeing up human capacity to then go after more value-adding activities. So those are a few themes on my mind.
And you have some thoughts as well when it comes to automation.
Yeah, I think part of going through that cloud moment to leverage really the scalability that there is in serving companies in the global supply chain requires a much higher level of digitization and automation than what we see today. The tools, the technologies that can support this, they are very proven. They've been applied in a lot of industries already. It doesn't really need to be invented. And I think that one of the things that we really have to do here in the coming years is actually apply this in the field of logistics, in the field of the global supply chain, and actually leverage those benefits across for customers. They're paying today for a lot of the inefficiencies that there is, both in terms of cost, but also in terms of suboptimal outcomes, because not automated processes means also more likelihood of mistakes, more likelihoods of problems on the way.
Well, it's fantastic that you brought in the customer, because you have a very special relationship with the customer across ocean and logistics. How have their needs changed this year, and what are they actually looking for in a partner in 2022 and beyond?
Yeah, the pandemic has really thrown us into uncharted territories in many aspects from our private lives, but also certainly when it comes to logistics and supply chain. And we see this across all medias pretty much on a daily basis right now. Numerous disruption of a severity that we have not seen before. And confronted with that, I think that customers have basically 4 different needs. One is for resiliency in their supply chain, having a network of vendors and providers that can help them navigate through these different disruption. The other one is an increased need of digitalization. Customers are not physically close to their goods when they are moving along the supply chain. The way they apprehend what is happening is through data. And to have access to data that is seamless, that is timely, that is integrated, you need to have an increased or an acceleration of the digitalization of the supply chain. It also needs to be integrated because what you see is that as these disruptions unfold, if you have a very fragmented and piecemeal supply chain, the impact that those disruptions have are multiplied across your supply chain, and you then end up paying a disproportionate cost for being subjected to those disruptions. And the last one is the decarbonization. It's actually making the supply chain sustainable, and for me that has been one of the big learnings here in the last year. As we were coping with the impact of the pandemic, it's not like everything else receded in the background. No. Actually, a lot of companies have rallied around the responsibility that they have not only to deal with the current disruptions, but also to deal with the long-term disruption caused by climate change, and their decarbonization plays a fundamental role. So that changes the ecosystem. These needs change the ecosystem in one big way. It requires more longer-term view, it requires more partnership, it requires more of an open book approach to problems and to the solutions that need to be deployed. And that has certainly changed the conversation between the companies who have the supply chain and the companies who support them. And I think for us that has been a really interesting change, full of learning and full of opportunities.
Well, you mentioned the conversation. I guess this must also have conversations between both of your sort of organisations as well. You touched upon data, which also is, of course, the area that you are very much looking closely at. So we currently, of course, look after around 20% of global logistics data. How are we then leveraging this to provide real value for the customer?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it ties back to our strategy, which is to be the integrated logistics provider, and one element or one key element of integration is data integration with our customers. And perhaps most people know this, but it's worth spelling it out more clearly. It's one of the hardest things to do still in the world. Data exists in tremendous or huge capacity or quantities around the world, definitely in systems that we have, the systems that our customers have, but bringing it all together in a manner that can be consumed and insights driven out of that remains a challenge for most large companies. I think we've done a lot of work in this direction to bring data on a common, what we call a data platform on the cloud that collects data from different systems across the company. And we are now getting to using this data to create value for our customers. So in the simplest level, it's about enabling visibility for our customers to where their container is or where their shipment is with us. Sounds simple, but when you're moving something around the world across multiple modes and through terminals and warehouses, then it becomes complex. And being able to just know that and giving the control to the customer so that they can take actions based on delays, for example, that may be happening caused by weather or other realities, I think it's a huge thing. One of the other challenges we're looking to solve for our customers is improve our delivery reliability, making sure that we're actually helping them, get their product when they want it. Something that has been made hugely complex by the pandemic and the supply chain disruptions that have happened over the last year and a half. And if you look to optimize the network that we have to solve for improved reliability, data is a very important part of it. So getting data from around the network and using that to build constrained optimization solutions to get to better network design, that's a huge area of focus, which improves the customer experience. And then we have a lot of opportunities from an improved efficiency perspective as well, which we can then pass on back to our customers. So think of predictive maintenance of our vessels or containers or terminals. The fact that we have devices now on most of our assets and are getting the data real time back into our data cloud or data platform, we can start to use that for maintenance or prediction kind of capabilities that will bring down downtime, bring down cost, all of which is eventually beneficial for the customer. So these are just a few examples of how data is now being made available to solve for problems that have hitherto been hard to go after.
Well, it sounds like there's still work to be done, but already the work has begun. And as you mentioned with these examples, we can see that they can track. And also it's really good that our teams across the organization are using data in this way. You did touch, of course, upon the disruption in the supply chain at the moment, which we probably shouldn't go any further without talking about. So, of course, they've been impacted this year severely by the after effects of the pandemic, which are still with us. Could you tell us then why, and we've touched a little bit upon it, why digitization is actually crucial to avoid sort of future challenges on the supply chain, but also touch upon what's happening now?
Yeah, I think what you see is when you have 100% predictability on absolutely everything, then maybe the importance of data is a little less. That's very far from the world that companies live into today. Today, you see multiple disruptions across, and you see them continuing to percolate across the global supply chain. And of course, when something like this happens, having full visibility for customers to know where their goods are, to know what is happening to them, and when they're going to be on the shelf, when they're going to be able to get their hands on them, it has increased importance. The need that they have also to feel that the whole experience is connected, so that not only can they see where the goods are, what is happening to them, but also they can do something about it if it needs to be done, I think is the other aspect that is absolutely important. And from that perspective, as Navneet mentioned before, connecting that data is the step number one. And after that, connecting customers and users or enabling decisions, putting decisions back into the customer's hands to affect the outcomes is the task that we have ahead of us. The current disruptions have taken a lot of companies aback. They have laid bare a lot of zones of shadows, lots of disjointed areas in their supply chain, things that need to be connected, things that need to be integrated, things that need to be digitized. That's a lot of the work that is going on right now, and that will be followed by this world of putting decisions back into the hands of companies, so that they can not only see what's going on but do something about it, and make their supply chain more predictable, but also more agile, have a higher ability to react to the changes that for sure will continue to happen, COVID or no COVID. There will be other reasons to see disruptions. That's what we've seen in the past and will continue to see. So data is truly the blood of the global supply chain, and the importance of having that blood fully flow and being in the hands of the people who need it to make things happen is absolutely crucial.
And what are some of the sort of actions that we have taken as a company in terms of trying to minimize that disruption that's happening right now?
So we've taken multiple impacts. First of all, I think we've engaged very proactively with customers into making sure that we do understand the needs of their business and can allocate capacity, can plan for what is coming through the supply chain. We've seen early on, for instance, one of the big disruption was a very large surge in demand for transportation into the US. And the ability that we have had to deploy extra capacity ahead of time, the ability that we have had to engage with our strategic partners and make sure that we could allocate them with that capacity early on, those have alleviated some of the pain or some of the impact of the disruption. Some of the innovations that we have had also by being able to open mobile channels for a lot of transactions we didn't have on mobile before, enrich the amount of services that customers could find on Maersk.com has been another way in which we have actually made it easier for them to interact with us effectively and actually get what they wanted to get. So it's been a lot of this. We've also activated a tremendous amount of capacity in warehousing, in distribution, and across air charters, rail products from China into Europe. So you really have multiple amounts of solutions, both to move the goods, but also to put the data and the visibility in the hands of the customers through Maersk.com.
So it's really leveraging the whole network, that end-to-end experience, to sort of deal with some of the challenges that we're facing now. And I guess, Navneet, this year you spoke about building a technology company, and we've also seen that we have acquired quite a few tech startups. Is this strategy set to continue in 2022? And also, what is the impact then on our end-to-end offering?
Yeah, look, we are in a transformation mode where talent is our key differentiator. And the war for talent, as everybody knows right now, is massive. We're looking for some of the best talent from around the world, but also we're looking to invest in and develop and retain the talent we already have. And we have a very sizable pool of talent already within the company that we've brought in and over the last couple of years. So a big part of our focus going into 2022 is helping our teams continue to develop, continue to execute well, help them look after their well-being, given that we have been in a crazy situation around the world with the pandemic and the implications it has on our personal lives, the workload it has created, and so on. So a lot of our focus is on continuing to nurture and develop and help build the team we already have. We always stay opportunistic about acquisitions from a startup perspective, right? Especially if it's a acqui-hire kind of a thing. We made some of that in 2021, and we'll keep an eye open for that. But we've got a fairly critical mass already within the company, and we have a strong recruitment engine, so we build around that. Our goal heading into 2022, as I said, is really to take our execution forward and strengthen the team we've already built and start to convert into a high-performing organization.
Super. So what does this mean for our sort of end-to-end integrated offering? We look at, of course, tech, but also other parts of the business in terms of what we can provide value for not just our customers, our employees, and society at large.
Yeah. So when to bring about that cloud moment into the global supply chain and really take a huge amount of current inefficiencies out, increase the quality of the outcome, the speed of the global supply chain. That requires a lot of humbleness, I think, to start. A lot of humbleness in the fact that there is a lot of questions we don't have the answer to. There's a lot of capabilities we don't have necessarily in-house today. And that's really was the mindset we started this transformation. We started with transformation with. Navneet mentioned how much we have insourced capabilities on the tech perspective, both through hiring and through buying some startup. We've been on the same journey from a capability perspective, also on the logistics side, just to give ourselves some of the sharpest mind, or to bring some of the sharpest mind on the team to help us think about how do we bring that. How do we break down each of the products that we have, each of the services that we have into the smallest possible instance, and take it together and then bring it back in a scalable model. And that's what we're doing right now. It creates a different company, a company that is much more empowered, much more innovative, much more agile, The culture is evolving, the values are remaining, but the culture is evolving, much more customer-centric, because we do this for the benefit of our customers primarily. But this purpose that we have in creating this moment and creating these benefits for our customers and making ultimately the global supply chain a sustainable infrastructure for the global economy is something that is going to have profound impact on the world. So it's very exciting for us. I think it's very exciting also for the people who are joining the journey coming from outside. It's really worth a mission that we're taking upon us and that we look forward to bringing to life.